Hi, I'm Ray Hutchins, founder of Data 1 Qubit, and I'm making a few videos addressing some issues that I've picked up on in various conversations I've had with quite a few people about this deal, and want to make this information available in the web so that potential investors and others could take a look at it and cogitate over it. Anyway, one of the criticisms, as it were, is the deal is too big as a startup deal, and I should make it smaller in one way or another and stage it in. I mean, valid and understandable concern and understandable criticism, as it were, because it's a $11 million raise based on a $36 million valuation with no revenue. No revenue on it. So, I mean, yes, it's a bigger deal. Well, a couple of things. First of all, there are small startup deals and there are large startup deals. I mean, like in anything, all right? And sometimes you solve small problems, sometimes you solve bigger problems. Solving the cybersecurity problem is the biggest problem there is to solve. Not that this solution solves the whole thing, but it addresses a very critical component of it. Again, we go out and we collect all the data that can be collected on all the cybersecurity companies globally and all the products they make globally. Currently we have 2,200 companies in our database. I don't even have any idea how many products they're making at this point. Most of those companies are in the United States and Israel, but we want to collect companies in Europe and Asia as well. We want to collect all that information. We want to collect that information in great depth. So, in order to do this, in order to make that kind of collection, it's an intelligence operation. It's not something that you can accomplish with one small piece of software. You have to build an IT system, and a complete system that is comprised of various IT components and a large human component as well that fits into it. According to the pro forma, we've got about 100 people that we need for this organization to handle it. So if the idea is, well, how do you do this? How do you accomplish this on a smaller scale to prove it up, as it were? Okay, well, let's think about it for just a second. How could you do that? Well, you could, if you go to the VAS, please take a look at the VAS demonstration, the Vendor Assessment as a Service, and go to the end, to the dashboard, where you can see all the data that is collected back there. And you look at the different kinds of data, and you can see that you have product data on one side and company data, vendor data on the other side. And you can see when you drill down, you can see the depth of the data in there. Okay, so, and all of that data is needed to do a vendor assessment. If you're going to be trying to buy a firewall, the idea is, well, what portion of that data do you not want, or do you not need, or shouldn't you collect? Shouldn't you have the systems collecting that information? What portion of that? Let's say on the company side of things. Okay, is it the financial section? You don't want to collect that financial data? Don't think that's the case. You don't want to collect the legal data? You want to find if there's any lawsuits or whatnot going on in it? No. Any ownership changes? You want to know if the Chinese maybe are buying into that company? No, I think you want that data. I mean, how about these company security data? You want to leave that out? What their security culture is all about over there? No, I think you want that too. Sentiment data on the company? No, I think you want that. So, I mean, what part of it do you leave out? Because then you can take away some of the systems and some of the people. Same thing on the product side. It's got support, it's got security, it's got other product information. What part do you leave out of that? The answer is you can't leave any of it out of it. You have to get that information, and you have to get it in depth so that you have at your fingertip all the information that you need so you can make an intelligent product decision. Nothing to do there. So let's say, now right now we've got 2,200 companies in the database. I think the number, when we finally stand up the system, is that we will have, I don't know, 3,000 different companies. When you're talking globally, maybe more. New ones coming out all the time. So one idea was, well, why don't you reduce it down to 1,000 companies instead of the 2,200 to 3,000? No one's doing 1,000 companies. You still would have something that is much, much beyond what everyone else has. Okay, valid idea. Which companies do we leave off? Which ones do we not include in the group? The new companies coming out, some of these brand new companies with some really cool ideas coming out, we leave those off. And some of the ideas are quite inexpensive and useful in products that should be deployed. Do we leave those off? Or do we leave off IBM and Cisco or some of these other people out here who have been in business building firewalls and other things for which company? Well, I'm saying they all have to be there. They all have, in the ideal world, they just need to all be there so that you've got them in front of you. You put your requirements in. You tell us what your requirements are, and we help you define those, so you don't have to make them up. And then the products, all the products, balance up. So the point that I'm making here is, this is a system. It's not just a piece of software. It's a system that costs this much money, the $11 million, to stand this system up. And it's a larger idea, a larger concept with larger returns, which I discussed on another video on there. And we shouldn't, just because it doesn't fit the standard mold of a new startup deal, okay, with a $1 or $2 million, just because it's not something we should be shying away from at this time with this crisis underway. A week or two ago, the purse for the Masters golf tournament was $9 million. I mean, let's compare the importance between what they paid those golfers. Great golfing, great deal, I loved it, okay, but with the cybersecurity crisis, which is threatening our entire system. This is a national security threat. The cybersecurity threat's a national security threat. Our F-35 fighters being flown around by the Chinese right now because Lockheed did not protect their data. I mean, $11 million. It doesn't sound like such a big number at this point. If it costs $20 million, if it costs $25 million, does it matter in the final analysis? In my opinion, as an American trying to protect our system, I say it does not. And I encourage you, whoever you are watching this video, to look at this deal from that perspective and look at it carefully. We can get this done and we can make a difference. Thank you.